Commander Jake Morrison was drinking his third cup of coffee when the alarm started beeping. He looked at the clock on the wall of the communications room. It was 3 in the morning ship time, and most of the crew was sleeping. The only sounds were the quiet hum of the engines and the soft clicking of computer systems. Jake had been working the night shift for 2 weeks now. He liked the quiet hours when he could think clearly and catch up on reports. The deep space exploration ship Terra's Pride had been traveling for 6 months without finding anything interesting. Just empty space, dead planets, and old rocks floating in the darkness. The beeping got louder. Jake put down his coffee and walked over to the main communication board. Red lights were flashing across the screen. Something was sending a signal, and it was coming from far away. "Computer, what kind of signal is this?" Jake asked. The computer's voice was calm and clear. "Unknown transmission detected. Signal contains mathematical patterns. Distance approximately 21 light years. Source appears to be a distress beacon." Jake's heart started beating faster. On his years working on spaceships, he had never seen a real distress signal from an unknown source. Pirates sometimes sent fake signals to trap ships, but this was different. The mathematical patterns were too complex and too perfect. He pressed the button to call Captain Ryan Hughes. Within 5 minutes, the captain was in the communications room, still wearing his sleeping clothes, but fully awake. "Show me what we have," Captain Hughes said. Jake pointed to the screen. "The signal started 20 minutes ago. It's using basic math that any smart species would understand. Numbers, simple equations, and repeating patterns. But Captain, there's something strange about it." "What do you mean strange?" "It's not just one signal. I'm detecting at least 3 different transmission sources, all coming from the same area of space. They're all sending the same distress pattern, but each one has slightly different technology." Captain Hughes studied the screen carefully. He'd been commanding spaceships for 15 years and had never encountered anything like this. Humans had been exploring space for over 200 years, and they had never found any living alien species. They had discovered old ruins on dead planets and strange artifacts floating in space, but never any actual aliens. "Could it be other human ships?" the captain asked. Jake shook his head. "No, sir, I've checked all human ship designs in our database. These signals are using technology that doesn't match anything we've ever built. The power signatures are all wrong, and the transmission methods are completely different from ours." Lisa Park arrived in the communications room, her hair messy from sleep, but her eyes bright with excitement. She was the ship's head communications officer and one of the best signal analysts in the human space fleet. "Captain, I heard the emergency alert," she said. "What do we have?" "Possible alien distress signals, Captain," Hughes replied. 3 sources, all mathematical patterns. Lisa sat down at her workstation and began typing quickly. Numbers and graphs appeared on her screen as she analyzed the signals. After 10 minutes, she looked up with a surprised expression. "Captain, these signals are definitely not human. The mathematical base they're using is different from ours. We use base 10 because we have 10 fingers. These signals are using base 8, base 12, and base 6. 3 completely different number systems." "What does that mean?" Jake asked. "It means we're looking at 3 different alien species, all sending distress calls from the same location," Lisa said. "And based on the signal strength, they're in serious trouble." Captain Hughes walked to the wall display and brought up a star map. The signals were coming from a solar system that human ships had never visited. It was far from any human colonies or trade routes, in a section of space that was marked as unexplored territory. "How long would it take us to reach them?" he asked. Lisa checked her calculations. "At maximum warp speed, about 3 weeks." Captain was quiet for a long moment. He knew that responding to the distress call would take them far from their planned mission.
Ow.
They were supposed to be mapping new star systems for possible human colonies, not rescuing unknown aliens. But there were laws that all human ships had to follow, and the most important law was simple. Any ship that received a distress signal had to respond if they were able to help. "Jake, wake up Dr. Amy Foster and Chief Science Officer Ben Carter. Tell him we have a possible first contact." "Situation," Captain Hughes ordered. "Lisa, start preparing our universal translation systems. We're going to need them. Yes, sir, both officers replied. As Jake walked through the ship's corridors to wake the science officers, he thought about what this meant. If the signals really were from alien ships in distress, then humans were about to make first contact with other intelligent species. It was the kind of moment that people would remember for hundreds of years. Dr. Amy Foster was the ship's expert on alien life. She had spent her whole career studying the possibility of meeting other intelligent species. When Jake knocked on her door and told her about the signals, she was dressed and ready to work within minutes. "This is incredible," she said as they walked back to the communications room. "Are we sure the signals are real?" Lisa confirmed it. 3 different alien species, all in the same location, all sending distress calls. Ben Carter, the chief science officer, was already in the communications room when they arrived. He was looking at the signal data with amazement. "Captain, I've never seen anything like this," he said. "The technology these species are using is completely different from ours, but in some ways, it's more advanced. They're managing to send signals across 21 light years with incredible clarity." Dr. Foster sat down at an empty workstation and began studying the alien signals. "The mathematical patterns are beautiful," she said. "They're using prime numbers, geometric sequences, and even some basic physics equations. These aren't just random distress calls. These species are trying to communicate complex information." Captain Hughes made his decision. Set course for the alien signals. "All departments, prepare for extended warp travel and possible first contact. Scenarios. This is not a drill." The ship's engines changed their sound as Terra's Pride turned toward the unknown star system. Throughout the ship, crew members began preparing for what might be the most important mission in human history. In the communications room, Lisa continued analyzing the alien signals. The more she studied them, the more concerned she became. The distress calls weren't just asking for help. They contained specific information about damaged ships, injured crew members, and failing life support systems. "Captain," she said, "I'm starting to understand parts of their messages. These aliens are in serious danger. They've been sending distress calls for weeks, and their situations are getting worse. Can you tell how many aliens we're talking about?" Dr. Foster asked. Lisa worked on her computer for several minutes. "Based on the signal patterns and the information they're sending, estimate somewhere between 50 and 100 individuals across the 3 ships. But Captain, there's something else." "What is it?" "The signals contain references to other species that tried to help them. Ships that came to rescue them but were destroyed or driven away. Whatever attacked these aliens might still be in the area." Captain Hughes nodded grimly. "And we'll have to be ready for anything. Ben, I want full tactical analysis of that star system before we arrive. Dr. Foster, prepare first contact protocols for multiple species. Lisa, keep monitoring those signals and let me know if anything changes." As Terra's Pride traveled through space toward the unknown aliens, none of the crew could have imagined what they would find when they arrived. They didn't know that in the galaxy's vast community of intelligent species, humans had a reputation as legendary monsters from a world so dangerous that most aliens believed it was just a scary story told to children. The rescue mission that seemed so simple was about to become something much more complicated and much more important than anyone on the ship could have predicted. 3 weeks later, the alarms on Terra's Pride woke everyone up. The ship had just dropped out of warp speed at the edge of a solar system that looked like a graveyard. Captain Hughes rushed to the bridge, still putting on his uniform jacket. "Report," he called out as he stepped into the command center. Navigator Pete Collins was staring at his screen with his mouth open. "Captain, you need to see this. I'm reading 17 different ships out there and most of them are dead." The main display screen showed what Pete had found. Broken ships floated in the darkness around a dying red star. Some of the ships were split in half. Others had huge holes burned through their sides. Pieces of metal and debris drifted everywhere like a field of space junk. "Are any of them still alive?" Captain Hughes asked. Pete checked his instruments. Again, 3 ships are showing signs of life support, but their power levels are very low. The rest are completely dead. Dr. Amy Foster arrived on the bridge and looked at the terrible scene. She had spent weeks preparing for first contact with alien species, but she had never imagined it would be like this. What could have done this? she asked quietly. Chief Science Officer Ben Carter was already running scans on the destroyed ships. Captain, I'm detecting at least 5 different alien technologies here. The ships that are destroyed don't match the 3 that are still sending distress signals. You mean there were more ships here before? Captain Hughes asked. Yes, sir. It looks like this was some kind of battle. The attacking ships are gone now, but they left behind a lot of destruction. Lisa Park was working at the communications station, trying to contact the surviving alien ships. Captain, I'm sending signals in basic mathematics to let them know we're here to help. The response came immediately. It was not what any of them expected. The ship's computer translated the alien transmission into English. But the words made everyone on the bridge freeze with shock. Impossible. The Deathworlders cannot be real. Your planet burns with the fire of stars. Your gravity crushes all life. Your air is poison that burns the lungs. Captain Hughes looked at his crew with confusion. Did they just call us Deathworlders? Lisa was already working to send another message. Unknown ships. This is the human vessel, Terra's Pride. We received your distress call, and we are here to help you. Please respond. The alien response was even more panicked than before. Humans. The legends speak truth. The monsters from the burning world have come. We are doomed. The Deathworld spawn have found us. Dr. Foster stepped forward. Captain, I think we have a serious misunderstanding here. More transmissions started coming from the alien ships. The computer was having trouble translating because multiple alien voices were talking at the same time, and some of them seemed to be screaming the Terrans are real. The planet of endless disasters has sent its children. They breathe the gas that kills. They walk in radiation that melts flesh. The warriors from the world of constant death have come for us. Ben Carter was checking the ship's databases. Captain, according to our records, no human ship has ever been in this part of space before. How do they know about Earth and humans? A good question, Captain Hughes replied. Lisa tried to calm them down. Ask them to explain what they know about us. Lisa sent a careful message. We do not understand your fear. We come in peace to help. Please tell us why you are afraid. The response came from one alien who seemed calmer than the others. The voice was translated as belonging to someone called Gentle Swimming Against. Current Terran ship, we are science leader Gentle Swimming Against current of the research vessel Peaceful Exploration. We do not understand how you can speak of peace. Your species is known throughout the galaxy as beings of terrible legend.
Captain.
Hughes decided to speak directly. This is Captain Ryan Hughes. We have never met your species before. What legends are you talking about? Captain of the Deathworld ship, for 7,000 rotations our people have told stories of the mythical Terra system. It is said that near the center of the galaxy there exists a world so dangerous that it actively tries to kill everything that lives on it. Dr. Foster was taking notes as fast as she could write. Captain, this is incredible. They have stories about Earth that go back thousands of years. The alien continued. The legends say that Terra circles a fusion fire so close that deadly radiation covers the entire planet. The gravity is so strong that it would crush most beings into liquid. The atmosphere contains burning gas that destroys the lungs of any civilized species. They're talking about our sun, our gravity, and our oxygen, Ben Carter said with amazement. But the legends also say, the alien went on, that somehow life evolved on this impossible world. Beings that can survive in conditions that would kill any normal creature in moments. Warriors so strong they can tear metal with their bare appendages. Hunters so fierce they show no fear even when facing death. Captain Hughes was beginning to understand. They think we're monsters because our planet is dangerous compared to theirs. Most of our species believed these stories were just tales told to younglings, to teach them about the importance of safety, said Gentle, swimming against current. But some of our greatest scientists said the stories might be true, they said. That somewhere in the galaxy, there might really be a death world that produced beings so powerful that they could never be defeated. Lisa sent another message. We are not monsters. We're explorers and scientists like yourselves. Okay? Our planet may be different from yours, but we are peaceful people. You speak of peace, replied the alien. But how can this be? The legends say. That Deathworlders are created by constant war with their own planet. They say that you must fight every day just to survive, that your world has storms that can destroy continents, ground that splits open and swallows cities, and liquid fire that erupts from beneath the surface. They're describing earthquakes, volcanoes, and hurricanes, Dr. Foster said. Things that are normal on Earth, but apparently terrifying to them. Another alien voice joined the conversation. This one identified itself as soft, speaking of nutrition. From the Harmony of Growth ship. Terran beings, our ship contains individuals from the Herbivore Alliance. We are a species that has never known violence. Our worlds are carefully maintained gardens where all life exists in perfect balance. Cannot understand how any intelligent being could evolve on a world of constant danger. How do your people survive? Asked a third voice from the cautious prophet ship. Our traders have explored much of the galaxy, but we have never found a world like the one described in the legends. Planets that support life are always peaceful places, with gentle weather and stable conditions. Captain Hughes was starting to realize something important. Are you saying that all of your worlds are what we would call paradise planets? We do not understand the term paradise, replied Gentle, swimming against current. Our worlds are simply normal. They have steady temperatures, gentle rains when needed, no dangerous weather, and soil that provides everything we need to grow. Food. Ben Carter looked at the data they had collected about the alien ships. Captain, their life support systems are incredibly delicate. The temperature range they need is within just a few degrees. Their atmospheric pressure is much lower than what we use, and their air mixture would be toxic to humans. Just like our air would be toxic to them, Dr. Foster added. Terran Captain, said Soft, speaking of nutrition, we must ask you directly. Are the legends true? Do you really come from a world that is constantly trying to kill its inhabitants? Captain Hughes thought about how to answer. From the aliens' perspective, Earth probably did sound like a nightmare world. Hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanoes, predators, diseases, radiation from the sun, and an atmosphere that would poison most alien species. Our world has challenges, he said carefully. But it is our home, and we have learned to live with those challenges. More importantly, we have learned that when others are in danger, we help them. That is why we are here. You came to help. Us? Asked Gentle, swimming against current with surprise. But we are not of your species. Why would Deathworlders risk themselves for strangers? Because that is what people do, Captain Hughes replied. We help each other. The alien ships were quiet for a long moment. Finally, Gentle, swimming against current, spoke again. If this is true, then perhaps the legends were wrong about one thing. They said that Deathworlders were creatures of pure violence, who conquered and destroyed everything they encountered. But you speak of helping others. Legends were wrong about many things, Captain Hughes said. We are not monsters. We are just people who come from a world that taught us to be strong and to protect those who need protection. It for the first time since the humans had arrived. The alien voices seemed less afraid and more curious about these strange beings from the legendary Deathworld. Captain Hughes made a decision that would change everything. He looked at his crew on the bridge and saw their worried faces. The aliens were terrified of them, but people were dying on those ships. He had to try something different. Lisa, open. A full visual communication channel, he ordered. Dr. Foster stepped closer to the captain. Sir, are you sure about this? If they see us, they might panic even more. Or they might realize we're not the monsters they think we are, Captain Hughes replied. We can't help them if they're too scared to let us near their ships. Lisa worked at her controls for a moment. Channel open, Captain. You can see and hear us now. Captain Hughes faced the main screen and spoke clearly. This is Captain Ryan Hughes of the human exploration vessel Terra's Pride. We have come a long way to answer your distress call. We have medical supplies, food, and repair equipment. We want to help you. The response was immediate chaos. Through the speakers, they could hear multiple alien voices shouting, screaming, and what sounded like several individuals collapsing. The translation computer was working overtime to process all the different languages. The Deathworlders have revealed themselves. Look at their size. They are giants. Their eyes. They face forward like predators. The gravity crushers show their true forms.
Dr. Foster.
Watch the reactions with fascination. Captain, I think our physical appearance is scaring them as much as our reputation. Ben Carter had been studying the alien transmissions. Based on their ship designs and what we can see of their equipment, I estimate that most of these species are much smaller than humans. We probably look like giants to them. The shouting from the alien ships gradually quieted down. Finally, one voice spoke up. It was Gentle, swimming against current, the alien scientist who had been their main contact. Terran Captain, we can see you now. You appear to be a large bipedal creature with forward-facing optical sensors. Our scientists confirmed that this matches the physical descriptions from the ancient legends. We prefer to be called humans, Captain Hughes said gently. And yes, we walk on two legs, and our eyes face forward. But we are not here to harm anyone. You're here because you asked for help. You truly came to help us, asked another voice. This was soft speaking of nutrition from the herbivore ship. You do not understand. In our galaxy, species help others. Of their own kind, sometimes allied species help each other. But why would beings from a death world help strangers? Because it's the right thing to do, Captain Hughes replied. When someone is in trouble and we can help, we help. It doesn't matter what species they are. Lisa had been monitoring the alien ship's conditions. Their life support systems are failing faster now. 2 of the ships have less than 6 hours of power remaining. Dr. Foster stepped forward where the aliens could see her. She moved slowly and kept her hands visible. My name is Dr. Amy Foster. I am a scientist who studies different forms of life. Can you tell us what injuries your crew members have? We want to help them. There was a long pause before Gentle, swimming against current, answered. Dr. Foster of the humans, we have many injured. Our ship was attacked by raiders 3 cycles ago. They used weapons that burned through our hull material. Many of our crew were hurt by the explosive decompression. Others were harmed by radiation leaks. What kind of radiation? Dr. Foster asked. Cosmic radiation at levels that are deadly to our species. Our ship's protective systems were damaged in the attack. We estimate that the radiation levels would be fatal to any of our people within 1 rotation. Ben Carter checked his instruments. Captain, I'm reading the radiation levels around their ships. It's about the same as normal background radiation in space. It's nothing that would bother humans. Dr. Foster realized what this meant. The radiation that's killing them is barely noticeable to us. We could work in that environment without any protection. It's impossible. Came a shout from one of the alien ships. No living being can survive in unshielded cosmic radiation. Humans can, Captain Hughes said simply. Our world has high radiation levels, so our bodies adapted to handle it. We can work in areas that would be dangerous for your people. Soft. Speaking of nutrition, spoke up again. Terran humans, if this is true, then you could enter the damaged sections of our ships that we cannot reach. There are crew members trapped in areas we cannot access because of the radiation. We can do that, Dr. Foster said. But first we need to understand more about your biology. We don't want to accidentally hurt you while trying to help. Our biology? Asked Gentle, swimming against current. What do you need to survive? What kind of air do you breathe? Temperature do you need? What kind of food do you eat? Going to help you. We need to make sure we don't make things worse. The aliens began sharing information about their needs. The Aquatic Federation members needed high humidity and low air pressure. Their body temperature was much lower than humans, and they required water with specific mineral content. The Herbivore Alliance needed air that was filtered to remove even tiny amounts of what they called poison particles, but which humans would consider normal atmospheric dust. The Cautious Traders needed temperature control so precise that normal human room temperature would give them hypothermia. How do you survive in space at all? Asked Lisa with amazement. Our ships have many layers of protection, explained Gentle, swimming against current. Multiple backup systems for every function. Safety protocols for every possible danger. Environmental controls that maintain perfect conditions at all times. Until something breaks, Ben Carter said. Yes, When our safety systems fail, we become helpless. We do not have the ability to survive in harsh conditions like the legendary Deathworlders. Captain Hughes was starting to understand the situation better. You've all evolved on worlds that are so safe and stable that you never develop the ability to handle danger or change. This is correct. Our civilizations are built on the idea that intelligent beings should not have to suffer or struggle. We terraform worlds to be perfect before we settle them. We build ships and cities with every safety feature possible. We have eliminated hunger, disease, and conflict from our societies. Dr. Foster found this fascinating. So you've never had to deal with natural disasters, predators, or environmental challenges? These things do not exist on civilized worlds, said Soft, speaking of nutrition. Why would any intelligent species choose to live with such dangers? Didn't choose it, Captain Hughes explained. Earth just happens to be a world with an active climate, geological activity, and complex ecosystems. We evolved to survive in those conditions. It made us tough, but it also taught us to work together and help each other. The legends say that Deathworlders are created by constant war, said Gentle, swimming against current. Are you a warrior species? We have fought wars, Captain Hughes admitted. But we've also learned to make peace. We fight when we have to. But we prefer to build and create and explore. That's why we're out here in space, looking for new worlds and new forms of life. And when you find people in trouble, you help them? Always. The alien ships were quiet for several minutes. Finally, Gentle, swimming against current, spoke again. Captain Hughes of the humans, we would like to accept your offer of help. Our people are dying, and you seem to be our only hope of survival. We won't let you down, Captain Hughes promised. Lisa was already preparing the shuttle bay. Captain, how do we transport aliens who need completely different environments than we do? Dr. Foster had been thinking about the same problem. We'll have to modify our shuttle bays to create safe zones for each species. Engineering can adjust the life support systems. How long will that take? Captain Hughes asked. With the whole crew working on it, maybe 4 hours. Do it, Ben. I want full scans of those alien ships so we know exactly what we're dealing with. Lisa, keep talking to them. I want to know everything about their injuries and their needs. As the crew of Terra's Pride began preparing for the most complicated rescue mission in human history, none of them realized that word of their arrival was already spreading through the galaxy's communication networks. The impossible had happened. The legendary Deathworlders were real, and they were saving lives instead of taking them. 4 hours later, Chief Medical Officer Kate Sullivan was covered in sweat and grease as she finished modifying the third shuttle bay. She had never worked so hard to create environments that would keep other beings alive. Danny, how's the humidity? Control in Bay 2? She called out to Engineering Chief Danny Brooks. Got it up to 90%, Danny replied while lying on his back under a control panel. The aquatic species should be comfortable now. But Kate, this is the most complicated life support setup I've ever built. Tell me about it, Kate said, wiping her face with a dirty towel. Bay 1 needs to be kept at 12 degrees below our normal temperature for the traders. Bay 2 needs high humidity and low pressure for the aquatic beings. Bay 3 needs air so clean it would make our medical lab look dirty. Dr. Foster walked into the shuttle bay carrying a large box of medical supplies. How are we doing? Almost. Ready, Kate replied. But I have to ask Amy, how are we supposed to treat injuries when we don't even know what these aliens look like inside? Very carefully, Dr. Foster said. I've been talking to their medical officers through the communication system. The aquatic species have a circulatory system based on a fluid that's similar to water, but contains minerals we don't have on Earth. The herbivore species have a nervous system that's completely different from mammals. And the traders have body chemistry that changes based on temperature. Out. Danny crawled out from under the control panel and stood up. Doc, these aliens are like delicate flowers. If we get anything wrong, we could kill them just by trying to help. That's why we're being so careful, Dr. Foster said. Every species has different needs, but they all have one thing in common. They've never had to develop tolerance for harsh conditions. Captain Hughes entered the shuttle bay with Ben Carter. Status report. Life support modifications are complete, Kate said. We have 3 separate environments ready for the alien survivors. Medical preparations are done, Doctor, Foster added. I've created treatment protocols based on the information their doctors gave me. Ben Carter was carrying a datapad with ship schematics. Captain, I've finished analyzing the alien vessels. The damage is worse than we thought. 2 of the ships have hull breaches that are letting in cosmic radiation. The 3rd ship has engine problems that are causing power failures throughout their life support systems. Can we fix the problems? Captain Hughes asked. The radiation damages in sections that the aliens can't enter without dying, Ben Carter explained. But humans could work in those areas without protection. The power problems on the 3rd ship require someone to manually restart their fusion reactor. Again, the radiation levels would kill the aliens, but they wouldn't bother us. Danny looked surprised. You're saying we need to go into areas that are deadly to them, but safe for us? What they consider lethal radiation, we consider a normal day in space. Captain Hughes made his decision. Kate, prepare medical teams for alien casualties. Ben, get repair teams ready to work in high radiation areas. Danny, I want you personally overseeing the reactor restart. Dr. Foster, you're with me on the rescue shuttle. 20 minutes later, the first human shuttle approached the alien ship Gentle Current. Through the viewport, they could see the damage. The ship's hull had holes burned through it by energy weapons. Atmosphere was still leaking out into space, creating clouds of frozen gas around the vessel. Landing bay is sealed and pressurized, reported the shuttle pilot. But Captain, their docking system is completely different from ours. Can we adapt? Captain Hughes asked. Already working on it, Danny said from the back of the shuttle. He had brought a box of universal connectors and modification tools. Give me 10 minutes. While Danny worked on the docking connection, Dr. Foster reviewed her notes about the aquatic species. According to their medical officer, we should expect to find beings that are about half our size, with skin that needs to stay moist, and respiratory systems that filter both air and water. Anything else I should know? Captain Hughes asked. They're herbivores, so they might be frightened by the fact that our eyes face forward like predators. Move slowly, speak softly, and try not to loom over them. The docking was successful, and the humans entered the alien ship through an airlock that was barely big enough for them to fit through. Everything on the alien ship was built to a smaller scale. The corridors were low enough that the humans had to duck their heads. The doors were narrow. The control panels were positioned for beings much shorter than humans. This is like being in a dollhouse, muttered one of the human crew members. They found the alien survivors in what appeared to be their ship's medical bay. There were 12 of them, and they looked like nothing the humans had ever imagined. They had blue-green skin that seemed to shimmer with moisture. Their bodies were sleek and streamlined, with long limbs and webbed fingers. Their large eyes were positioned on the sides of their heads, and they moved with graceful, flowing motions. When the humans entered the room, the aliens pressed themselves against the far wall with obvious fear. "Greetings," Captain Hughes said softly. "I am Captain Hughes. We spoke earlier through the communication system." One of the aliens stepped forward slowly. "I am Gentle, swimming against current. You are even larger than we expected." Dr. Foster knelt down to bring herself closer to the alien's eye level. "We're here to help. Can you show us who is injured?" What followed was the most delicate medical operation in human history. The aliens had injuries that would have been minor for humans, but were life-threatening for their species. Cuts that had become infected because their immune systems couldn't handle the bacteria from space. Broken bones that weren't healing because their bodies needed specific minerals that were missing from their emergency food supplies. Radiation. Sickness from exposure to cosmic rays that humans barely noticed. Dr. Foster and her medical team worked for hours, treating each alien with extreme care. They had to use tools designed for much smaller hands and work with medicines that had completely different effects on alien biology. "Kate, this one has what appears to be a breathing problem," Dr. Foster said, examining an alien who was making strange clicking sounds. "According to our notes, that's their equivalent of a cough," Kate replied. "Their respiratory system processes moisture from the air. In the dry environment caused by the hull breach, they can't breathe properly. They moved the aliens to the modified shuttle bay on Terra's Pride, where the humidity had been increased to match their needs. The aliens seemed amazed by the human ship's size and complexity. "Your vessel is enormous," said Gentle, swimming against current. "How many beings does it carry?" "About 200 crew members," Captain Hughes replied. 200. The aliens seemed shocked. "Our largest ships carry no more than 30 individuals. How do you manage resources for so many beings?" "We've learned to work together efficiently," Dr. Foster explained. "When you come from a world that challenges you every day, you get good at cooperation." While the medical team treated the aquatic aliens, Ben Carter led a repair team to the damaged sections of their ship. The areas that were flooded with cosmic radiation were completely off-limits to the aliens, but the humans walked through them as if they were taking a stroll in a park. "Hand me that plasma torch," Ben said to one of his team members. They were standing in a section of the ship where radiation levels would have killed the aliens in minutes. "This is incredible," said the team member. "No wonder they think we're mythical beings. We're working in an environment that's deadly to them, and we don't even need protective gear." Ben welded new hull plates over the holes in the alien ship. While his team rerouted power systems and repaired atmospheric processors, work that would have required the aliens to send robotic systems was being done by humans with simple tools. "Ben to Captain Hughes," he said over the communication system. "Repairs to the Gentle current are complete. Their ship is sealed, and radiation levels are back to normal." "Excellent work. How are the other ships?" "The herbivore ship needs engine repairs, and the trader ship needs a complete reactor restart. Both jobs require work in high radiation environments. I get it done." As the humans worked to save the alien ships, word of the rescue was spreading through space. Other alien vessels were detecting the energy signatures of the repairs and the movement of ships. Radio transmissions were being sent at faster than light speeds to distant worlds. The impossible was happening. The legendary Deathworlders were real, and instead of conquering and destroying, they were fixing and healing. The galaxy's understanding of these mythical beings was about to change forever. "Dr. Foster," said Gentle, swimming against current as the medical team finished treating. "The last of the injured aliens, we owe you a debt that can never be repaid. You have saved lives that we thought were lost. It's what we do." Dr. Foster replied simply. "We help. But why? We are not your species. We cannot offer you anything of value. Why would Deathworlders risk themselves for strangers?" Dr. Foster thought about how to explain something that seemed so obvious to humans but was apparently revolutionary to these Gentle aliens. "Because someone needs help, and we can provide it. That's reason enough." 2 days later, Captain Hughes was drinking his morning coffee when Lisa Park ran onto the bridge with excitement in her eyes. "Captain, you need to see this," she said, pointing to her communication screen. "We're getting signals from everywhere. At least 50 different ships are heading toward our location." Captain Hughes put down his coffee cup and walked over to look at the display. Ships were coming from all directions, traveling at high speed toward their position. "Are they hostile?" he asked. "I don't think so," Lisa replied. "They're sending identification signals and requests to communicate." "Captain, I think word about our rescue has spread through the galaxy." Ben Carter arrived on the bridge and checked his instruments. "Captain, I'm reading ship designs from at least 20 different species. Some of these vessels are enormous. That one, there is 10 times the size of our ship." Dr. Foster joined them, carrying a data pad full of notes from her conversations with the rescued aliens. "The aliens we saved have been talking to their homeworlds. They've been telling everyone about what humans did for them." "What exactly have they been saying?" Captain Hughes asked. "That the legendary Deathworlders are real, and instead of being monsters, they're guardians who risk their lives to save strangers." The first alien ship to arrive was unlike anything the humans had ever seen. It was shaped like a giant flower, with petals that seemed to be made of crystal. When it opened a communication channel, the voice that came through was musical and strange. "Greetings to the mythical Terrans. I am Prime Speaker, cautious deliberation before action, representing the Galactic Harmony Council. We have traveled far to witness the beings from the legendary Death World." Captain Hughes straightened his uniform and faced the communication screen. This is Captain Ryan Hughes of the human vessel Terra's Pride. We are honored to meet you. Prime Speaker. Captain Hughes of the humans, for 7,000 cycles our civilizations have shared stories of your kind. We never believed these stories could be true. No species could survive on a world of constant danger. No beings could thrive in conditions that would kill any civilized creature. Our world taught us to be strong, Captain Hughes replied. More importantly, it taught us to help others when they need help. More ships continued to arrive. Some looked like moving cities with gardens growing on their hulls. Others appeared to be made entirely of light and energy. A few resembled geometric shapes that hurt to look at directly. Captain Lisa said, "I'm getting communication requests from 43 different species. They all want to talk to us." Dr. Foster was amazed by the variety of alien ships. Amy to Bridge, I'm reading life signs that suggest dozens of different biologies. Some of these beings are made of gas. Others appear to be crystalline structures. There's even one ship that seems to contain beings made of pure energy. Over the next several hours, Captain Hughes found himself speaking to representatives of an entire galactic civilization that had existed for thousands of years without humans ever knowing about it. Each species had their own version of the human legends, but all the stories shared common elements. There was a world near the galactic center where beings had evolved under impossible conditions. These beings were said to be immune to radiation, unbreakable by pressure, incapable of surviving in environments that would instantly kill any other form of life. "Tell us, Captain Hughes," said a being that looked like a walking tree with silver leaves, "is it true that your people can heal from wounds that would be fatal to others?" "We heal faster than some species," Captain Hughes admitted. "Our bodies are good at repairing damage." "Bled incredible," said another alien that appeared to be made of flowing water. "Our medical science says such rapid healing is impossible." "It true?" asked a third alien that looked like a collection of floating geometric shapes, "that your people show no fear when facing danger?" "We feel fear," Captain Hughes replied. "But we've learned not to let fear stop us from doing what needs to be done." Gentle swimming against current had been listening to the conversation from the human medical bay, where the aquatic aliens were. Recovering. "Prime Speaker, if I may address the Council?" "You may speak," Gentle swimming against current. "I have seen these humans work. They entered areas of our ship that contained deadly radiation levels without any protection. They lifted equipment that required machines for our people to move. They made decisions in moments that would take our crews hours of careful deliberation. Oh, but most importantly," added soft speaking of nutrition from the herbivore ship, "they treated our injured with a gentleness that would make our most skilled healers proud. They risked their lives for beings they had never met before. They fixed our ships in areas we could not enter," said the voice of careful profit calculation from the trader vessel. "They worked in conditions that would have killed our engineers instantly." Prime Speaker, cautious deliberation before action, was quiet for a long moment. "Captain Hughes, our records show that the legends of the Deathworlders go back 7,000 cycles. How is it possible that your species has been the subject of our stories for so long, yet this is our first contact?" Captain Hughes looked at Dr. Foster, who had been studying the same question. "You think the answer is in our exploration patterns," she said. "Humans have been exploring space for only a few hundred years, and we've been moving outward from our home system. You've been avoiding our region of space because you thought it was too dangerous. The Terra system is marked in all our star charts as a forbidden zone," confirmed another alien representative. "Our ships are programmed to maintain a safe distance from any star system that could support Deathworld conditions." Ben Carter had been analyzing the galactic map data the aliens had shared. "Captain, it looks like our section of the galaxy is considered a dead zone by most alien civilizations. They've been exploring and colonizing in completely different directions. So humans and the galactic community have been missing each other for thousands of years," Captain Hughes realized. "Until now," said Prime Speaker, cautious deliberation before action. "The question that remains is, what happens next?" Captain Hughes looked around the bridge at his crew. Lisa was monitoring communications from dozens of alien species. Ben was studying star charts that showed a galaxy full of civilizations humans had never imagined. Dr. Foster was taking notes about alien biologies that would revolutionize human science. "What happens next," Captain Hughes said slowly, "is that we learn from each other. You can teach us about cooperation and peace. We can teach you about strength and endurance. Together, we can build something better than either of us could create." "Alone, but Captain," said the tree-like alien, "our species are so different. We are fragile compared to you. We need careful environments and gentle conditions. How can we work together when your people thrive in conditions that would kill us?" "The same way we just rescued your people," Captain Hughes replied. "By understanding what each species needs and working together to provide it. You don't have to become like us, and we don't have to become like you. We just have to help each other. You speak of cooperation between Deathworlders and peaceful species," said Prime Speaker, cautious deliberation before action. "But how do we know that your people will not eventually turn to conquest? The legends say that Deathworlders are natural warriors." Dr. Foster stepped forward. "We are good at fighting when we have to fight, but we prefer to build and create and explore. That's why we're out here in space. We're looking for new knowledge and new friends, not new enemies." And, added Captain Hughes, "when we find people in trouble, we help them. It's not going to change." The gathered alien ships were quiet for several minutes. Representatives from dozens of species discussed the situation in languages the human computers couldn't translate. Finally, Prime Speaker, cautious deliberation before action, spoke again. "Captain Hughes of the humans, the Galactic Harmony Council, makes this proposal. We invite your species to join our community as guardians and protectors. Your people's strength and courage would be valued gifts in our civilization." "What would that mean?" Captain Hughes asked. "It would mean that when any species faces dangers they cannot handle alone, they could call upon the Deathworlders for help. In return, our civilizations would share knowledge, technology, and friendship with humanity." Captain Hughes smiled. "Prime Speaker, I think that sounds like exactly the kind of future we want to build. And so humanity took its place in the galaxy not as conquerors or monsters, but as the protectors that other species could rely on when the universe became too dangerous to face alone." The legends of the Deathworlders had become reality, but it was a much better reality than anyone had ever imagined.